Hi, I'm just some guy named Jeff, and this is the Psychotronic Encyclopedia of Film by Michael J. Weldon.
Know about it, you're not going to watch it, and the only way you're going to know about it is by reading Psychotronic. Michael, why Psychotronic? Why did you make it? Why did you create it?
It's an alternative to a TV guide and any TV listings in the local newspapers because they never really give any information about the cheaper films or the horror films. They usually they just say they're bad, and they never even saw them before. And so many people are interested in these kind of movies, and they'd like to know who's in it, who directed it, what kind of film it is, and if it's worth watching.
If you spend any time on YouTube or the internets, you quickly realize that discussion on movies of all types saturates the landscape. Whether reviews, synopsis, theory, or technique, essays on films ranging from Sean Cunningham's Friday the 13th to Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's The Red Shoes are a constant.
How does one achieve eternal bliss? By saying how does one become famous? By saying...
Okay, maybe not so much for the critically acclaimed and award-winning 1948 British drama about a doomed ballerina, but you get my point. And don't even get me started on Black Narcissus. But I digress. Film essays are everywhere. In the late 70s and all through the 80s, this was not the case. Many films made through 1910 to even the late 60s hadn't been seen in many decades. There was no outlet for them. But that all changed with two events in the coke-fueled Reagan era.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, thank you.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Harris. I didn't see you come in. I haven't seen you in a week or so. Have you been out of town or something?
Oh, no. Our VCR was just in for repairs again. It was awful. Can you imagine trying to make conversation with Mr. Harris? Well, anyway,
the growth
it's back now.
of cable TV and introduction of affordable VCRs in American homes. These new cable networks needed content, and they needed it fast. And as for the burgeoning video stores that were popping up in towns across America, they needed something for ravenous consumers to ingest when their top-tier films left the shelves. The cable networks began buying packages of long-forgotten movies on the cheap that they could fill their late-night schedules, Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons with. Titles like The Beast with Five Fingers, Crime in the Streets, and The Monster That Challenged the World. And video stores loaded their shelves with Z-grade favorites like Dr. Phibes, The Castle of Fu Manchu, and Naughty Dallas. As a kid growing up in this period, it was exciting and a new frontier.
Shows like sneak previews with Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert became a much-anticipated event every Sunday evening to find out what was on the horizon. But their information was limited and often biased towards the evils these movies exposed, easily influence children and teens do.
Uh-oh, Gene, this is Bowser in the balcony means it's time for Dog of the Week, a regular feature where each of us picks the week's worst movie.
Well, Roger, you and Spot may not believe this, but I have just seen my first nudie karate film.
You're kidding.
No, I guess you'd call that genre chop sexy. The film
We didn't need fear-mongering, and we definitely didn't need protecting.
We needed information, and that is where the wonders of B-movies and cult films became a major influence for a whole generation of kids. These are the greats of Z-grade literature, and as an adult, I'm less interested in sharing unwarranted opinions about movies. Every taste is different, and it is easy to dismantle and tear apart someone's maybe misguided but earnest work.
Watching a Warhol film is not too different from watching a Grey Z shot in Florida film. I mean, they're technically inept and just as boring, but there's reasons to appreciate both, you know what I mean? And, Warhol was reinventing cinema in the 60s by his deconstruction of it, okay? Whereas in Florida, movies like Sting of Death were being made where a guy is half man, half jellyfish.
There are lots of terrible movies I love. Super Fuzz or Super Snooper. And Blood Freak and its papier-mâché turkey monster are just a few small favorites of mine. They are not great. They are sloppy, amateurish, a mess. But I'll take any one of them over another slick billion-dollar Marvel flick or soulless remake of Halloween. I want the mess.
What is a catalyst? Well, in this case, a catalyst is a person that will bring about changes. They could be good or bad, but there will be changes. You can meet one almost anywhere in your everyday life. In a supermarket, drugstore, anywhere. Even riding down the Florida Turnpike.
It's so great to be here in Florida, my second home with you. This is a state I truly love. This is a state where we all had great victory together.
It doesn't mean I don't appreciate great movies. I love Jean-Luc Godard's Band of Outsiders, the aforementioned Red Shoes, and Robert Altman's The Long Goodbye. The truth is, I just love movies. But more than the story told, I love the passion, the people in front of the camera and behind put on the screen and into my imagination. And that love came from these books I tore through over and over again, because they love these movies as well. Enough to write thousands of pages about them. 3,000 alone in the Psychotronic Encyclopedia. 3,000 movies, not pages, I should clarify. They infected my mind. Often their descriptions within the pages were better than the actual movie. They shared images that launched a desire to see more. They became a part of our history. The first time I masturbated was to page 358 of the Psychotronic Encyclopedia, to the breasts of Elizabeth Bathory in Immoral Tales. I discovered glam rock through Danny Peary's words on how terrific the music of the Phantom of the Paradise and his cult movies too. I smoked weed for the first time so I could watch Valley of the Dolls after Leonard Maltin tore it apart in his movie guide. They are as deeply ingrained in my memory as the movies. Often I can quote the book better than what characters said on screen. With the advent of the internet, film catalogs and analysis has pretty much died, replaced with blogs and video essays. But with their death, we've lost a very important influence for those discovering new treasures in the world of cult movies. Z-grade, schlock, art house, and no-budget quickies. And that is the hands-off approach authors like Michael J. Weldon, Charles Beasley, Bob Martin, Akira Fitton, Danny Peary, Stefan Hammond, and a few others gave in their criticism, allowing us to discover our own tastes. So, in the coming weeks, months, nuclear winters, let's rediscover these classic Z-grade books together. After all, we are all
Psychotronic.
I'm just some guy named Jeff, and you should probably like and subscribe. Come on. You know you want to. Do it. For me.